세상엔 수많은 주거 형태가 있습니다. 가족과 함께 살거나 혼자 살거나 혹은 친구와 함께 살거나 비용 절감을 위해 생판 남과 함께 살기도 하는데요. 그런데 만약 당신의 룸메이트가 사람을 수없이 죽인 살인범이라면 어떨 것 같나요? 상냥하고 무해하게 보였던 자가 사실 수많은 사기 전과가 있다면요. 악몽 같은 룸메이트들의 이야기 지금부터 시작합니다. 1988년 폭발적인 발전을 이룬 미국 세크라멘토.
Around 1988 in Sacramento, it was a time of a real good growth spurt. People were buying houses and new developments were coming about.
그러나 거리에는 수많은 노숙자들이 배회하고 있었죠.
At that time, County Mental Health had created a homeless task force. Our goal was to get them off the street and get them connected with mental health services and a decent place to live.
거리를 돌아다니던 사람 중에 버트 몬토야라는 사람도 있었습니다.
People called him Bert. Bert was born in Costa Rica and he came with his family when he was about 16 to one of the southern states. He began to get schizophrenia at age 16.
하지만 병원 생활이 가혹했었는지 퇴원 뒤 그는 집을 떠나 세크라멘토로 왔습니다.
He didn't tell his family, but he did end up at detox. He wasn't an alcoholic, but he was the one person they liked staying there.
당시 사회복지사였던 주디는 그가 노숙자 신분을 벗어나길 원했습니다.
Well, if we could find a good boarding house for you, would you prefer to go there?
But there happened to be a place that was so well recommended.
도러시아 푸엔테라는 여성이 운영하던 한 하숙집이었습니다.
So very well recommended by saying there's a wonderful woman there and she really takes really good care of her clients.
She would donate to local charities and give them bags of clothing. And so she was giving free food away to the community.
그리고 도움이 필요한 사람들을 대상으로 지하에 하숙을 운영했습니다.
Dorothea lived on the top floor and they lived down below. These were people that some would call the shadow people of our society. Out of their social security checks or what monies they had, they would pay for their rent.
버트를 보내기 전 주디는 그곳에 한번 찾아갑니다.
And we're really impressed with that. We're thinking, gee, she is nice. You know, she's got a box of kittens.
그리고 상냥한 주인집 도러시아와 평안한 하숙인들을 보며 그를 하숙집에 기꺼이 보내기로 합니다.
I thought, this does sound like a good place.
버트는 그곳에서 잘 적응하며 지냅니다.
Bert seemed to be thriving under Dorothea's care. I did want to keep tabs on what he was doing. I did call Dorothea to check on Bert.
그런데 몇 달 뒤 주디는 그녀에게서 버트가 멕시코에 갔다는 소식을 듣습니다.
I'm hearing that and I'm thinking, that's not like Bert at all.
수상함을 눈치챈 주디는 도러시아에게 계속해서 연락합니다.
She said, oh, he'll be back maybe on, say, Friday. Then I said, no, what I'm going to do is on Monday, I am going to call the police and I am going to say there's a missing person here.
그러나 얼마 뒤 그녀는 돈 앤선이라는 남자에게서 버트가 멕시코에서 돌아온 뒤 가족들 집으로 돌아갔다는 소식을 듣죠.
He had come home from Mexico and his family came and picked him up. I didn't believe it.
이를 믿지 않은 주디는 하숙인 중 하나인 존 샤프에게 연락했고
He said, none of us went to Mexico. No. Where you live, like, is something wrong? He said, yeah, something is wrong here. She's been digging a lot of holes.
주디는 곧바로 경찰에 실종 신고를 합니다.
Bert was missing, so I went to file a missing person. I really fear that there's other things going on in that house.
이를 받고 강력계 형사 존 카브레라는 F가 1426번지를 조사하기 시작합니다.
And they all said the same thing, that Bert had left with a relative.
단 한 사람, 존 샤프를 제외하고 말입니다.
But one of the boarders slipped the officer a note.
카브레라는 도러시아 푸엔테에 대해 조사합니다.
You know, she was incarcerated for putting knockout drops in individuals' drinks, taking their money and their social security checks. My partner and I went to Dorothea's boarding house with her parole officer, Jim Wilson.
그리고 집 마당에서 백골이 된 시신 한 구를 발견하게 되죠.
And then I kept digging and digging, and my shovel had struck something hard. And when it broke loose, I could see it had a ball in the end, and it was a femur bone. It was a human femur bone.
이후 그녀의 집 마당에서 7구의 시체가 발굴되면서 도러시아는 결국 하숙인 살해 혐의로 체포됩니다.
I remember seeing her face, and I put Sacramento together.
And it was this tip that led police to arrest Puente at the motel where she was staying.
그러나 놀라운 사실은 여기서 끝나지 않습니다.
Puente was charged with 9 counts of murder in the first degree, which
알고 보니 도러시아는 하숙인이 아닌 다른 이들도 같은 방식으로 살해했습니다.
that she killed him within about 3 or 4 weeks of his moving into F Street, then disposes of him in this horrible fashion by dumping him in a box near the river.
그리고 그녀가 수많은 살인을 저지른 이유는 딱 하나, 고작 돈 때문이었습니다.
They had their little social security check. And they had their life. That's all they had. They didn't have cars. They didn't have houses. They didn't have a lot of clothes. They didn't have anything.
Find the defendant, Dorothea Montalvo Puente, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
For a term of life without possibility of parole.
많은 시간이 흐른 뒤 2013년 캘리포니아주의 오렌지시.
Downtown Orange, kind of a sleepy little historic town. There's not a lot of serious crime in the city of Orange.
So having an incident like this, it was a big deal.
Cal State Fullerton student Maribel Ramos has been missing since last Thursday.
육군 참전 용사이자 대학생이었던 마리벨은 회사에 결근한 것도 모자라 가족 모임에도 불참합니다.
Everybody was looking for Maribel Ramos.
이에 수상함을 느낀 룸메이트 케이시 조이가 경찰에 실종 신고를 했는데요.
That's unusual. That's when I called the police.
경찰은 그녀가 가족 모임에 절대 빠지지 않는다는 가족들의 말을 토대로 수사에 착수합니다.
And they're saying there's no way she would not come to this softball game. This is just way out of character.
경찰들은 실종자를 마지막으로 본 사람인 룸메이트 조이를 조사합니다.
So according to Mr. Joy, when he was asked where he was, he said that he had gone for a drive, drove up and down Tustin in the city of Orange. And when he got home, she was gone, and he never saw her again.
경찰은 마리벨에 대한 내부 기록을 찾아봅니다.
We learned that approximately 2 weeks prior to Maribel's disappearance, Maribel calls the police.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know that I have a roommate that should be leaving at the end of the month. We had a conversation today that he kind of freaked me out. I'm not feeling comfortable around him anymore. I'm feeling threatened.
같이 살던 어머니가 돌아가시고 집세 분담이 필요했던 마리벨은 인터넷에 공고를 올린 뒤 케이시 조이를 룸메이트로 맞이했습니다.
Me and my sister tend to always see the good in people. You know, it's like, oh, he seems nice, he's quiet. A couple of months go by and he was always at home. He didn't have friends. It's sad because we felt his loneliness. Maribel being the type of human that she is. That's how he gradually became friends with Maribel.
하지만 조이는 그런 그녀에게 고마움을 넘어서 질 나쁜 감정을 품게 되죠.
I know that your sister wants to get married, she wants to have kids. I want to be the man that she's looking for. And then he said he was in love with her and that they had a great friendship and that he loves the family.
마음을 받아주지 않자 조이는 폭력적으로 돌변했고
Because he sounded like he would hurt me. Like, it was weird.
이에 두려움을 느낀 마리벨은 경찰에 전화를 했습니다.
I'm just like calling so that you guys know that if something happens, that I did it because I was trying to defend myself.
그러나 마리벨은 그를 신고하지 않고 그저 집에서 내보내기로 결정합니다.
And he was going to be moving out at the end of the month, and she was good with that.
그로부터 얼마 뒤 마리벨은 조이와 다시금 격렬한 말다툼을 벌이고
Maribel told him, and you need to be out tomorrow. So he starts cussing at her. Maribel gets upset.
때가 바로 2013년 5월 2일 마리벨 실종 하루 전날이었죠. 정황이 너무나도 분명했으나 경찰은 그를 체포할 수 없었습니다.
This case had challenges, mostly because Mr. Joy is a smart man, and it just seemed that everything that we brought to him, he would reason out of it. He had done a decent job covering his tracks.
During the initial investigation, we had no evidence.
경찰은 결국 조이를 24시간 내내 감시하기로 합니다.
Casey Joy would use the public computers there and log in.
And then we could obtain intel inside the library remotely.
그리고 그곳에서 의미심장한 검색을 자주 하는 것을 목격하죠.
He had some really suspicious searches on some search engines.
Another time he entered in how long does it take a human body to decay?
경찰은 그로부터 유의미한 정보 하나를 얻게 됩니다.
I was at my desk working on the case when I received a phone call from the guys at the library saying, "Hey, you're not going to believe what he just did."
그녀의 동생이 기획한 걷기 대회 장소 중 한 군데를
He typed in the address for the awareness walk onto a Google map.
And then zooms out and then switches to satellite view.
조이가 위성 사진으로 유심히 보고 있다는 걸 포착한 것이지요.
And he kind of zooms in close, and then zooms in on a tree in a remote canyon.
I didn't even have to say it. Somebody had already told a couple of guys to start going out to that area.
그리고 큰 나무 밑에서 마리벨의 시신을 발견합니다.
Kind of turn this corner underneath this large tree.
I don't think it was more than a half hour that I got a call back from him saying, "You're not going to believe this, but we found her."
뒤이어 그들은 도주하려는 조이를 붙잡아 살해 혐의로 기소합니다.
Surveillance had seen him do this, and they stopped him and detained him, and then we ultimately arrested him.
하지만 그는 덜미가 잡혔음에도 끝까지 범행에 대해 부정합니다.
As close as I thought we were to having him tell us what happened, to this day I don't think he's taken any responsibility.
I think he was wrapped up in Maribel. He loved her. He couldn't just wrap his head around thinking he was going to live his life without her.
이번엔 바다를 건너 칠레에서 있었던 일입니다. 킬리는 대학 졸업 후 여행을 계획합니다.
I chose Chile because it's easy to get a visa here. There's a lot of opportunities for work.
지인을 통해 그녀는 장기 숙소를 얻게 됩니다.
She said there was an empty room and it's fun. There's a lot of people from all over the world there and it's cheap and it's in a nice neighborhood.
그렇게 룸메이트가 된 사람들 중 그녀를 가장 반겨준 사람이 있었는데
Joseph was the Danish man. Was very friendly and generous.
요세프는 팔레스타인 출신으로 마라톤 대회를 위해 칠레에 왔습니다.
He did have a magnetism about him and a charisma about him.
다만 본인을 너무 미워하는 경향 탓에 켈리는 그에게 거북함을 느꼈습니다.
I just kind of rolled my eyes when he would tell these stories. He picked up on me not really liking him that much. That really upset him because he's used to people liking him.
놀랍게도 유세프의 허풍은 과거 다른 이에게 피해를 준 적이 있었습니다.
I met Yusuf in August 2010. I was coordinator of the Palestinian network in Denmark. Most people imagine fire and bombs, and this is the image we want to move from. So it's important to support Palestinians who do the arts or education or sports.
그런 그에게 유세프가 연락을 했는데요.
And he told me that he was Palestinian origin and he wanted to run this race.
마이르는 그가 바라는 만큼 큰 돈을 모금해 이를 지원해 줍니다.
So I made a website for him and I wrote, there is a young talent who's going to run this marathon and please contribute. And he asked me, could you bring a Palestinian flag to me? Then I will take it with me to Brazil.
하지만 첫날 1등을 한 것도 잠시 그는 곧바로 실격을 당하게 됩니다.
He was hurt with his leg. In the second day, the doctors on the team, they had to examine him.
그는 자신의 출신 탓에 인종차별을 당한 거라며.
Because the doctor team were Americans and he think that because he's Palestinian, that's why they disqualified him.
다음에 열릴 칠레 대회에서 꼭 성과를 보이겠다 말합니다.
I have to help him, you know.
그래서 마이르는 같은 공동체 소속인 카를로스와 함께 마라톤 참가비를 지원해주고
hizo toda una campaña para recolectar plata para poder pagar la inscripción a la carrera de ultramaratón.
칠레와 지원해달라는 그의 부탁에 응해 그곳으로 향하죠.
And then he said, and then you can take pictures of me when I'm running and when I'm winning and having the flags in my hand.
그러나 유세프는 같은 부상으로 또 실격을 당하면서 그들은 곧 그의 진위를 의심하게 됩니다.
And I started to think that there is something wrong. Why he's being disqualified 2 times?
그 사이 유세프는 또 다른 인물에게도 피해를 입혔는데요. 그와 함께 브라질 마라톤을 참여했던 영국인 도미닉이었습니다.
During the jungle marathon, me and Joseph got to know each other. And after the race, I just happened to mention to Joseph that I'm interested in investing in land and property to co-invest as a joint venture. Why not? Let's check it out. We were supposed to meet the lawyer, but Joseph said the lawyer's father was very ill in hospital. So yeah, he wasn't available.
방법을 알아보다 유세프는 마라톤 대회에 참가하기 위해 칠레로 가야 한다면서
There was another race, another ultramarathon in the Atacama Desert in a month's time.
도미닉에게 함께 갈 것을 제안합니다. 그는 이를 수락하고 대회에 가기 전 런던에 들렀다 오기 위해
We spent a few days in Chile scoping out the Atacama crossing race, and then I headed home to London.
계약금으로 챙겨왔던 거액을 유세프에게 맡기죠.
I don't want to carry a large amount of cash again in case I'm robbed somewhere. I'll just leave the money with Joseph.
칠레로 돌아온 뒤 그는 유세프에게 돈의 행방을 물었습니다.
I told Joseph I want my money back, but it was pretty clear to me by this stage that he had no intention to give me back my money.
그는 세 사람에게 의심을 사게 되고 결국 정체가 드러납니다.
I was surprised to hear from him that they had also become very suspicious of Joseph's activities.
He was trying to get out of Denmark because of a trial that was waiting for him in 2011.
도미닉은 돈을 찾으러 런던에서 다시 칠레로 향합니다.
Didn't have any expectations to get the money back. Let's face it, the time had gone by and wasn't likely to be much left anyway.
유세프는 자신이 돈을 맡겼다 주장하는 한 변호사 사무실로 그를 안내합니다.
Joseph told me that the money was in safekeeping with the lawyer. The lawyer's office is a 10-minute walk.
하지만 사무실은커녕 그는 한적한 시외곽으로 도미닉을 유인하죠.
We weren't heading anywhere in particular.
그리고선 등을 보인 도미닉을 공격합니다.
I felt a rush of air above my head. Braced myself and I ran straight towards him.
가까스로 살아남은 도미닉은 그 즉시 런던으로 돌아가죠.
He then started begging me not to say anything to anybody. So I bought myself a ticket from Chile directly to London.
그리고 4주 뒤 유세프는 켈리에게도 비슷한 짓을 행하고 맙니다.
Of course, I had no idea that 4 weeks later, Callie would be walking into a similar kind of situation.
유세프는 칠레의 추위를 참기 힘들어하던 켈리와 룸메이트들에게
And that house had no hot water, it had no heating.
자신이 투자하기 위해 산 아파트가 있다며 이를 빌려주기로 합니다.
He said that he just purchased some condos in Santiago and that he'd rent them out to us.
그들은 유세프에게 월세와 보증금을 건네줬지만 그는 변명을 하며 차일피일 입주를 미뤘죠.
A lot of other people in the house loaned Joseph money when he kept excusing himself why he couldn't pay them back.
Finally, he sensed that we were mad at him.
켈리에게 집 열쇠와 그동안 룸메이트들이 빌린 돈을 찾아가라고 하죠.
We had gone to the real estate office. Then we went to get the backpack and all the money that he owed. After dinner, he was like, oh, there's this burned down house that I heard has a golden toilet seat in it. So when we got there, it wasn't actually a house like Joseph said. It was a tire shop. But it was burned down.
그리고 무방비 상태였던 그녀의 후두부를 둔기로 내리친 뒤 목을 졸라 의식을 잃게 만들죠.
I don't know how long I was unconscious.
다시 깨어난 켈리는 자신이 방수포에 꽁꽁 쌓여져서 흙과 재 속에 파묻혀 있었다는 걸 알게 됩니다.
I was wrapped up so tightly that I had to do my best, you know, just kind of that shimmy shake to get out.
있는 힘껏 발버둥쳐 그곳에서 벗어난 그녀는 집으로 돌아갔고 그곳에서 다시 마주한 유세프는 걱정했다며 켈리를 반갑게 맞이하죠.
Oh my God, thank God you're here. We were so worried.
이후 그는 살인미수 혐의로 짧은 형을 살고 나오지만
Joseph Carter was sentenced to prison for 600 days.
다른 나라로 도망쳐 여전히 비슷한 행보를 보이고 있었습니다.
When he got out of jail in Denmark, he left again.
앞으로 또 누군가의 룸메이트가 되어 돈을 탐할지도 모를 일이죠.
It's still happening somewhere. We don't know where.
다음으로 또 미국에서 있었던 일입니다.
You know, I met Jamison in 2005.
유세프와 비슷한 짓을 벌였지만 더 악랄하고 섬뜩한 일을 저지른
Nice looking, very handsome, fun to be with.
그의 이름은 제이미슨 바크먼. 처음엔 알린의 룸메이트였죠.
And he's just going through a lot of things mentally.
그의 연인이었던 알린은 직장과 집을 잃은 그를 자신의 집으로 들입니다.
And I told him he could stay with me for a couple months till he got on his feet. You know, I just wanted to help him out as a friend. I cared about him and his dog, and I kind of felt bad for him.
그러나 입주 첫날부터 그의 기행이 시작되었습니다.
You know, I came home the next day and my whole apartment was rearranged.
Within a few weeks, there started to be a lot of complaints from Jamison. I was wondering, why is he complaining? He's not even the actual tenant in the building.
게다가 그는 집을 구할 생각도 그곳을 떠날 생각도 전혀 없었습니다. 집세는 전부 알린이 지불하고 있는데도요.
When I said, you've got this law degree, You know, why don't you try to pass the bar and do something with your life? I can't study in this place, it's too noisy.
하지만 그녀는 그를 쫓아낼 법적인 도움을 받을 수 없었습니다.
I went to the police. They didn't help me. You know, I said I want to change the locks, and they said you can't do that. They'll arrest you.
두 사람은 임대인과 임차인의 관계가 아니었기 때문이었죠.
The eviction process is complex, takes time, and is more confusing when it's not a traditional landlord-tenant situation where someone's paying rent.
제이미스는 법학 전공자로서 임대차법을 너무나 잘 알고 있었습니다.
But this is my home, just as much as it is yours, and I'm not leaving.
심지어 자신을 쫓아내려는 그녀를 되려 집에서 쫓아내 버립니다.
Well, after Arlene got arrested, she was ordered to stay away, kicked out of her own apartment.
그리고선 1년간 집주인과 실랑이를 벌이다 알린의 집에서 쫓겨납니다.
He took 2 of my other cats. I pleaded with him to give them back to me, and he wouldn't.
다음 타겟이 된 건 해변가 집에 로망이 있던 소니아였습니다. 그녀는 큰 돈을 들여 아파트를 장만했고 함께 계약금을 지불할 룸메이트를 구했습니다.
She had been paying part of the mortgage. When that relationship dissolved, I had to find myself another roommate.
제이미스는 곧바로 그 집에 갔고 소니아는 그의 정체도 모르는 채 받아들이죠.
He's grateful because otherwise he would have to be sleeping in that U-Haul. I said, perfect. I can pay my mortgage for the month and start getting on track.
역시나 그는 알린에게 했던 짓을 소니아에게 똑같이 합니다.
Until July, August, he did not pay me any rent. He has the right to stay at that apartment for 3 months until he is legally evicted.
그뿐만 아니라 이번에 적반하장으로 폭력적인 태도까지 취합니다.
Once he was served with the eviction papers, that's when he started becoming more vocal and his tone was more angry towards me. You're going to be very sorry that you served me with those papers. You better get a good lawyer because I'm going to take you home.
이를 참지 못한 소니아는 그의 행동을 단호히 저지합니다.
And I said, I'm not one of your young innocent girls that you can take advantage of. I know how to defend myself. I was waiting for the court date in order to evict Jamison from the apartment, but Hurricane Sandy arrived. And so I left Jamison at the apartment and I went to Brooklyn, where my mother lives.
돌아와 보니 어느새 제이미스는 집을 떠난 뒤였죠. 이번엔 가명을 써서 자신의 신분을 철저히 숨겼죠.
My previous roommate had left, and my mom was having to fork over money to me. So here enters Jed Creek.
제드 크리크라는 이름으로 그녀에게 접근한 제이미스.
I'm very uncomfortable with this right now. I'm just meeting you.
언제나처럼 멀끔한 모습으로 호감을 샀습니다.
I trusted everything that he was saying to me. Background in law, educated, tutors people for a living, mentor, with a dog. So that night, Jed moved in.
제이미스는 더욱더 뻔뻔하게 그녀의 집을 점거합니다.
In the first few days of him living in my apartment, I noticed some of my personal items were moved. Where are the kitchen chairs? In here. All of them? Yes, I needed a desk and a table. We agreed he would share the cost of paying the bills. Jed would laugh at me when I asked for him to pay the bills.
뒤늦게 사태를 파악한 알렉스는 이를 어머니께 고했고
I have an issue.
그녀의 어머니는 그의 정체를 알게 되죠.
I put in Jed Creek's telephone number and up popped his true identity. Jed Creek is not who he says he is. His name is Jameson Bachman.
He was a serial squatter.
그에게 취할 수 있는 법적 조치가 없다는 걸 알게 된 알렉스는 대신 제이미슨을 불편하게 해서 집에서 스스로 나가게 만들기로 합니다.
I knew of some of Jameson's dislikes, which included smoking, drinking, rap music, loud noise. I was going to have Jameson whiskey served to send farewell to Jameson.
파티를 열자 상황을 알게 된 친구들은 그를 조롱하고 놀립니다.
Probably about 11:30, he came out of the room. And my friends were like, hey, he came out.
이에 분노가 쌓인 제이미스는 파티가 끝난 뒤 그녀가 혼자 남았을 때를 노립니다.
I was brushing my teeth. Jameson came out of his room, went into the kitchen, and then the door swings open, and Jameson comes in, and he gripped my throat up like this.
그리고 알렉스에게 흉기까지 휘두르며 상해를 입히죠.
And he left. He walked out and went into his room. I went and I threw open his bedroom door. He came at me, slammed the door, my legs in the frame, over and over and over again, 10 times at least, and then slashed at my legs with a knife.
결국 상해 혐의로 그는 감옥에 갑니다.
Confirmation then comes that he has been placed in jail. I could breathe a little bit.
그의 형이 보석금을 내고 풀어줬지만 보호 명령을 어겨 또 감옥에 들어가죠. 하지만 또 그의 형이 보석금을 내주면서 그는 세상에 다시 나오게 됩니다. 그러나 얼마 뒤 그가 벌이는 또 다른 범죄에 전 룸메이트들은 경악을 금치 못합니다.
"60-year-old Jameson Bachman is charged with his brother's murder, and Harry Bachman died of what appeared to be blunt force trauma."
이유는 더욱더 가관이었습니다. 갈 곳 없는 자신을 거두지 않았다는 것 때문이었죠.
Jameson was recently bailed out of jail by Harry, but Harry would not allow him to stay at his home due to Jameson's alleged history of violence.
이후 제이미스는 감옥에서 스스로 목숨을 끊습니다. 그의 룸메이트들은 더 이상 두려움에 떨지 않게 되었죠.
I'm in a good place. I know that I'm a strong woman.
하지만 또 룸메이트를 들일 생각은 절대 하지 않는다고 합니다.
Roommate? Forget it. Not doing it.
또 다른 제이미슨을 만나선 안 되니까요. 넷플릭스 오리지널 시리즈 악몽의 룸메이트는 실제로 벌어졌던 4가지 사건을 옴니버스식으로 엮어 만든 다큐멘터리입니다. 미국 등지와 칠레에서 벌어진 끔찍한 룸메이트에 관한 이야기를 생생한 인터뷰와 으스스한 애니메이션을 사용해 효과적으로 전달하는데요. 인시디어스, 겟아웃 등을 만든 공포명과 블루마우스에서 제작해서인지 실화라고 믿기 싫을 정도로 사연 하나하나가 무척 섬뜩하게 느껴집니다. 2024년엔 더 지긋지긋한 룸메이트들의 사연으로 구성된 두 번째 시즌을 넷플릭스에서 공개하기도 했고, 규제폭력 사건을 기반으로 제작된 또 다른 다큐멘터리 시리즈 악몽의 X도 공개되었는데요. 현실에서 마주하기 싫은 룸메이트들의 이야기가 더 궁금하신 분들은 이 다큐멘터리를 정주행해 보시는 건 어떨까요? 지금까지 악몽의 룸메이트였습니다.